The world just witnessed the greatest men's 4x400 meter relay that we have ever seen contested. Of course, you could argue that fact, but if you didn't actually watch the race, you don't understand. So, I'm just gonna hop straight in. There's no reason for me to dance around it. We had the USA and Botswana, and a whole lot of drama before we even got to the starting line. So I'm gonna go all the way back to the beginning of this story, because you deserve to know what happened. It all starts with the fact that Team USA's men, when it comes to the 4x4, this is their event. Historically speaking, they've won 9 of the last 10 world championships heading into this event. And when it comes to the Olympics, they've won 5 of the last 6. The only time they lose, they get the silver medal. It is that simple. So if you were making a movie, obviously, I guess you gotta put the Americans in the villain seat. Just being real. Because everybody's trying to take out the Americans, but nobody can almost ever figure out how to pull it off. But this year's a little bit different. Spoiler alert. Because what happens to Team USA is that they almost don't even make the final. And that in and of itself is a huge story. So, when we get to the preliminary heats for the men's 4x4, Team USA goes out there with, no disrespect, they basically sent a JV team. All that means is the men that they should have put into the final don't run this round. The reason why they don't do it is because they want to give people rest. Some of these athletes have competed in different races up until this point. Like, yeah, they have their reasons, but for the most part, it's an American luxury. Every other nation knows that if they want to take out the Americans, and for that matter, just get to the final, they're likely going to need to run the same guys in both rounds. America doesn't do that. So we go out there with a group that's not the real group. They're not saying they're slow, but they're not the real group. And then in their preliminary heat, they don't get out to a lead. They're in about 4th place going into the second leg, and Zambia impedes their runner. Like, he actually gets in the way of them, they're unable to make the pass, they fade all the way back, they run terrible splits for the remainder of the race, and they actually finish in 7th place and get eliminated. Now, at that moment they're officially eliminated, but they appeal the decision. After the appeal is accepted, it takes a whole bunch of time, 12 hours later, approximately 12 hours later, early in the morning in Tokyo, they go back out there to run again. Now it's a runoff between them and Kenya, and they're running for one final lane in the championship. When they do the runoff, spoiler alert, America wins. It wasn't really that close, and I watched it closely. Like, I watched, the entire race from start to finish, watched it live when it aired. But now we have the final, because America's in lane 1, which doesn't really matter that much once we get past the stagger. But they're in lane 1, and Botswana, which faced off with America at the past Olympics. We all saw it. A race that went all the way down to the line and was decided by essentially a 1/10 of a second. That race. The race where Botswana loses, gets silver to America. And we watched Letsile Tebogo, the Olympic gold medalist in the 200, and Rai Benjamin, the Olympic gold medalist in the 400 hurdles, go toe-to-toe all the way down to the line. That Botswana comes back for the World Championship this year. And when they do, they can now say they have the following. The reigning Olympic gold medalist in the 200 is still there. He actually got 4th this year by 1/100th of a second. But after that, they have 3 men who competed in the World Championship final for the 400. 3 of them. And 2 of them got medals, 1 of which was gold. That is who Botswana brought to the line. So they were feeling pretty good because they knew they had the talent to beat the Americans. And America had such a luxury because they had so much talent, they swapped out all 4 men from the prelims who had to run again in a prelim, like the second chance prelim. All of those guys, they said, y'all take a seat. We're putting in 4 new ones. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, and if you really want to know what's going on with the fastest athletes in the world, then you are in the right place. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. So America comes back with a team of Vernon Norwood, Corey Patterson, Caleb McRae, and of course, Rai Benjamin. That is their relay. And for Botswana, they gave us Epi, Tebogo, Ndori, and Kebinatshipi. All that really matters is that when the gun goes off, this race is happening in the pouring rain. Once again, you can't make this stuff up. Of course, the first leg is run entirely off of a stagger, and Vernon Norwood is the leadoff for America, and he technically wins that leg. Just being real about it. When they pass it off for the second leg, they run around the first turn, they break to the pole, and immediately we see Botswana and America separate from the field. Now, America is in front. Let's clarify that. They're in front for the second leg. Botswana is more or less right there. And they run through that entire leg, hand off to third, almost like equal for the most part, and America once again holds their position at that point. Now, by the time we get to the third leg, South Africa has decided that they are going to go with the pace, because at this moment, either you're going to go with the pace or you're going to get left. Now, South Africa has the luxury of having Wade van Niekerk, who still holds the world record in the 400, even though we haven't seen him as much in the final races between that moment and now. Regardless, he takes care of business. So now we've got a 3-horse race, but it's still pretty clear. America's in the lead, and Botswana is stalking them, and South Africa is still giving it a go. When we finally get to the anchor leg, Rai Benjamin gets the baton with a lead. A solid enough lead, where for the most part, all he has to do is hold it. But Kebinatshipi, who is the reigning gold medalist now at the World Championships in the 400, he decides, I'm just going to sit and wait. He runs the first 300 meters, and for the most part, it doesn't look like he's making a move. I didn't know where the move was going to come from. I thought he might be dying. And South Africa, with Vikita Nene, who came into this meet as the world leader, he is going for it. He is running as hard as he possibly can, because it looked like he's making a move. Now, the question is, does Rai Benjamin have enough real estate to hold him off? Because by this point, in the last 100 meters, both men are coming to get him. And Rai Benjamin, he's trying to pull the line closer to him. That's what it looks like. He's trying to almost overstride a little bit. But Kebinatshipi is able to peek out, like to sneak away from Nene and sneak past Rai Benjamin by less than a tenth of a second. And that's how Botswana gets the gold medal. On top of that, when we get to the line, again, we're talking about less than a tenth, America is tied down to the 100th of a second now, like tied on the 100th with South Africa. But when they go to the thousandths, by apparently 2/1000ths of a second, America earns itself the silver medal. Because remember, when America doesn't win, at least for the last 10 world championships and now the last 11, even if they don't win, they get the silver medal. There's so much more that we could say about this, because this relay is not just the movie that plays out. Because there might very well be a movie that's made to tell the story of the Botswana team that comes from behind to win this world championship. Hey, I would be more than happy to help them write the screenplay myself. But that's not the point. If you see this from the American context, because last time I checked, I'm American. We dominate this event, and we do it because we out-talent the rest of the world. And we almost did it again. But the fact that, the race went this way, and you look at the emotion that Botswana shows after the race is over, it puts in perspective two things. One, this was box office entertainment. And unfortunately, I don't know how many Americans will actually get to see it. And maybe because we don't win, that's why it's not going to be boosted up or elevated on TV. I'm willing to bet that in the American sports media, you won't even know this race happened. The only people who will follow it are the ones who actively sought it out and wanted to watch it, watch the race. Wanted to go online and look for the highlights. Those are the people. And it happened early in the morning, so almost nobody watched it live. That's the next thing. Here in America, anyway. But the other component is it was box office entertainment because we understood what we were watching. Two teams going at it. But if you are Botswana, it's pretty clear. This race meant more to you. I'm not saying the Americans didn't want to win, but Botswana wanted to win this thing differently. They had just lost last year, running one of the greatest races that they'd ever run. And to do this in the pouring rain, a race where you thought the Americans were entirely out of it, and then they came back from elimination, because they were eliminated. And then they get resurrected and thrown into the final, and at which point you see the lineup come out, and it ain't the same guys who were there before. The fact that America can do that, literally swap out the entire roster from one round to the next and still take care of business in the final. Nobody else in the world has that luxury, and it does feel a little bit unfair. But hey, it's just the way the situation is set up. I mean, gotta go get faster guys. And for Botswana, that's exactly what they did. They got faster men. So for all the reasons I just mentioned, as far as I'm concerned, this was the greatest relay of all time. Even if America didn't get the victory. Because track and field is a competitive sport where we hand out gold medals to the winners. But remember, especially if you're in the American sports media, in the eyes of a casual track fan, notice I said that part, if you're not in first place, you might as well be in last. And that's that. In the sport of track and field, confidence is everything, because when you win, that is just the moment when everybody else finds out what you already knew to be true, that fast is a lifestyle. Get your fast is a lifestyle track and field gear at scarecruiting.com/shop or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.